Probably around 8 months ago, I had a rethink on how we went about some of our training, how we connected up our strength and conditioning and our rugby training, where we have to make our decisions and where we have to execute our job. It's actually out here on the field. So what I thought was made a bit of sense to actually start doing a bit more work on the field. There's always that conundrum in there, why change something that's not broken? But I'm very much of the philosophy that things are there to be improved all the time.
One of our major training philosophies is physical pressure practice, which we abbreviate to PPP. What we try to achieve in that session is overloading the players in terms of time, space and oxygen. We think that this is really key to them making the right decisions and executing skill under the match conditions.
It's trying to attain the age-old, again, conundrum or challenge of training harder than you play, which coaches talk about all the time.
One of the big threats to performing is fatigue, and fatigue can not only affect the body physically, it can also affect the body mentally.
I think with PPP it's one of those ones that you sort of dread every week because it's so tough, it's so challenging, but afterwards you're definitely pleased that you've done it.
I love it personally, but I can imagine most of the backs probably dread it. It's just full contact, smash. What's not to love about it?
After a session they'll generally give us a rate of perceived exertion. We max out at 5. We quite often get 5s when we're training for PPP.
I collect all the training load data on the girls via the GPSs as you see here, and we also use heart rate belts. This is Poppy Cleals, and then my role is to collect it, analyse it and feed it back to the coaches and the players. So these are the GPS devices that the girls wear. It doesn't just have a GPS sensor, it has an accelerometer in there as well, and that can detect things like accelerations, decelerations, but also impacts.
Brilliant!
Welcome to Harry Cam. This is behind the scenes access of PPP.
90 seconds first.
Then 60. Yeah, cool, okay. Are we over on that corner again, yeah? Let me have a little... Yeah, that's fine. Good, reload! Nice, good! And reload! I'm in.
Yeah, time on.
Cheers, mate. Go, Shauna, head down! Head down!
Tackle box. Yeah, good work. Okay, here we go. Ball on Harry. Give me a rough on Harry. Right ball.
Good, Rido. Keep working. Great work.
So I'm the man in the middle. I've got Alex's voice in my ear.
Got a longer rest after this, Scotty. A longer rest after this. 5, Scotty. 5.
And I'll sort of float in and around the middle and around the ref, sort of talking about what we're trying to achieve. So it might be about playing longer advantages. It might be about being particularly harsh in the breakdown. We let the game flow as much as possible. Half of it kind of scripted, half of it completely what happens on the day. It's a big cultural thing to try and take intensity to a whole new level. So part of this journey is around hitting those intensities consistently, so that when you're under pressure in a game, your players can deliver.
In! Free kick here, purple! Free kick, purple!
The way the coaches run the session, we do have more demands than the usual game. As soon as one ball's down, another one ball's up elsewhere, and you just got to stay on your mettle the whole time. If you knock off, you're probably going to make a mistake, or there's going to be a line break which you just can't recover from. So you've got to stay on it the whole time.
So it differs from a game because they put in the rest, so actually sometimes instead of it being a scrum or a line out, they just go free kick and make us keep playing. They determine how much rest we get and when we get rest.
Short transition, let's go, Scotty. Short transition and go.
I think it's only going to make our game better, faster, quicker, and us more robust as players.
Post-training session, usually a few hours later, we get stats that come out, and they're to the same detail that we'll receive in a game.
Gives some really good insights into what physical outputs you're getting in the games you've just played, i.e. Scotland and Italy for us against what we're training. And then basically what you do is you hold up your game stuff against how you're training, and you can get a direct comparison. We're trying to make sure we train above above the games we play, and that's what the evidence has shown at the moment.
It's not about chasing numbers, it's about executing our game plan, and hopefully the data will back that up. So it's always about working back from the game.
So morning girls, just wanted to provide a little bit of feedback on match intensity versus PPP. This is just numbers though, and like Harry and I always say to you, it's not a numbers game. It's about your actions. So these numbers are relevant, I think, to you doing your job well on the field. We think it's important to help the players join up the dots between their game pressure moments and their physical intensity.
The stats are only there to assist. Everything's in context of the game. The more you can educate the players about what we're trying to achieve from the session, and the more we can demonstrate what their outputs are, probably the more commitment you'll get to it, particularly when you can connect the data very specifically to actual actions. And one thing Harry and Alex are just world class at doing is exactly that. So they'll put videos together that demonstrate what their physical outputs are. As they're running the videos, there'll be a trace at the bottom showing what their high speed running is, etc.
A lot of the time you look at GPS and you sort of go down the list looking at how fast you've run, but you don't know what that means in terms of the context of the game. And it's really great to see, when someone's making that 5 metre burst into a tackle, how that reveals itself on GPS.
There's many things in the game that isn't backed up with the GPS. A pass of the rugby ball isn't backed up with the GPS, for example. It's just important that we decipher it, we feed back that to the girls so they can understand if they're having success in executing that game plan.
Exactly what we wanted. Exactly what we wanted. Okay. Everything we've talked about over the last 2 days has been teeing up for this session, and to have a look at our attitude. Okay, and our attitude was first class. That's the intensity. Don't let it drop off next week. We're building towards the final. Okay, we taper off back end of the week, and then we're ready to go. Yeah, great effort, girls. Great effort.
I would say it's working. I would categorically say it's working. I've watched us play against Scotland and particularly Italy at the weekend now, and the levels that we have achieved in terms of how we've made the game look at times has been really exciting to see. I think we've made the game look very easy, but it's because we've had such physical dominance. I think the speed with which we transition from defence to attack, be it by kicking and chasing or by turning ball over and moving it into space, is great evidence of what we're doing out here on the field in PPP. It's really exciting to see, but it's still got plenty of mileage in it.